This Ice Shot Ranger build can do 6 million damage in one shot, all thanks to Frenzy Charges, Barrage, and the Deadeye Ascendancy. You can effectively use it to kill Pinnacle bosses and one-shot all map bosses. We also clear maps super fast by using Ice Shot and Spiral Volley, and the clear speed is amped by using Herald of Ice, which will clean up any enemies missed by Spiral Volley. Now let me explain how we do 6 million damage in one shot. So Snipe is the main skill for bossing, and it's so good due to having a guaranteed crit if you hit the perfect timing window. This allows you to spec into all crit damage nodes on the second weapon set, allowing you to have nearly 2000% crit damage multiplier. This alone lets Snipe do a ton of damage, but we combine it with a few other things. So the dualstring bow will allow all of your attacks to shoot out an additional arrow, meaning twice the arrows, so twice the snipe damage. We then run the Deadeye ascendancy node endless munitions to shoot out a third arrow, meaning triple the damage. Then we use Barrage, a skill that when used will do 2 repeats of any attack after at base, so this means 9 snipe arrows. Barrage can repeat an additional time per frenzy charge consumed, and we have a max of 5 frenzy charges, so a total of 24 snipe shots. But the Deadeye ascendancy node Thrilling Chase will act if it's consuming double your current frenzy charges, so instead of a max of 5, it's actually acting if we have 10. So that's 39 snipe arrows that are all guaranteed to crit for over 2000% crit damage bonus in one shot. Just look at all those arrows. Well, with the explanation out of the way, let's get into the skill gems and support gems. So here we are on the Ranger, and I want to go and explain the weapon set thing, and it's really simple. Don't click off. It's really easy. It's automatic. So on Snipe, make sure that you have it set to weapon set 2 only, so uncheck that. And on all of your other skills, you can just have it set back to weapon set 1. So it's really easy. That way you can automatically, whenever you want to use Snipe, it'll swap just by hitting Snipe, and whenever you want to swap back, you just use your other skills. It's super simple, super easy, so don't be intimidated by it. Alright, so Ice Shot, our main clear speed skill right here. We're going to be running Martial Tempo for more attack speed, Cold Infusion for extra cold damage, Ambush to double our crit hit chance on full life enemies, because as we're mapping, most enemies are on full life, and this will double our crit hit chance, which is already at 48.79, so it's going to be nearly a guaranteed crit hit on full life targets, so this will double that to nearly 100%. And then we have Fork, so that way whenever the arrows hit a target, they will split off and hit more targets to help us clear. And Pinpoint Critical if you have the slot for extra crit hit chance. Spiral Volley. After we generate some charges with Ice Shot, we are going to use Spiral Volley on big groups of enemies. This is great for like breaches, whenever you're in a ritual, anything where there's going to be a lot of enemies, this will like just explode the entire screen. It's awesome. You'll do a big spin and it'll shoot a ton of supercharged arrows for you. So we're running Perpetual Charge to give us a chance to not consume charges. We're running Primal Armament to increase the damage of it. We're running Heft to increase the damage of it. And we're running Inevitable Crits. That way we have increased crit hit chance against targets, because we're not going to be using this like spammy, like you're gonna be holding it for a second. So super great skill for clearing large groups of enemies. All right, so Snipe, our main bossing, Pinnacle bosser, you know, super tough rare skill. This is what's giving us guaranteed crit hits and is doing all that damage. So we're gonna be running Window of Opportunity to give us a shorter perfect timing window, but we're gonna be 35% more damage whenever we do hit that window. So whenever you hit that window right there, you're gonna be getting a ton of extra damage. All right, so we're gonna be running Super Critical because since this has a guaranteed crit hit chance, we're just going to be running as much crit damage bonus as possible. We're going to run Concentrated Effect for extra damage. Now, immediately on the card, it's not going to look like it's doing anything, but that's because it's boosting the explosion and not the arrow itself. So you can see 29,605, 22,773. So make sure you're running Concentrated Effect. On the next one, we're going to run Overextend for more crit damage bonus. And we're going to run Long Shot if you have the last ones. That way we can get 30% more attack damage if we're far away from a target, which more than likely we're going to be since we're playing a Ranger class anyways. All right, Freezing Salvo. This is a pocket skill. What we're using Freezing Salvo for is to freeze targets to proc Ice Bite to give us 35% more damage. This is great as a lockdown skill to freeze stuff or if you get kind of surrounded. So this is a really great skill to have in your pocket. Like I said, we're going to run Ice Bite for that 35% boost to damage. We're going to run Glaciation to allow it to get way more freeze buildup, so that way we freeze more often. We're going to run Cold Exposure, so that way whenever this crits, it's going to inflict cold exposure, which will lower the resistance of that target by 20%. And we're going to run Strip Away to increase that exposure effect by another 20%. It won't be 40, it'll be 20% of 20, whatever that would be. So yeah, super nice skill to have in your pocket. All right, Barrage. This is what we're running to boost that snipe damage to all of those 39 arrows that I'm talking about at max effect. So Barrage will, like I said, whenever you use it, it will repeat your skill at base, but if you have frenzy charges, it will boost it a ton. Now, it is to be noted that the repeats do deal less damage, but this, regardless, is a massive damage boost to us, so it shoots a ton of extra arrows. So we're going to run Premeditation because this is a empowering skill, so that's an extra 15% more damage on all of our skills that use this. We're on Ingenuity, so the cooldown is quicker, so we get it back faster. And we're going to run Twofold if you have the slot to give us a 20% chance to double the effects. I don't have any clips of this proccing, but when it does, it is a massive amount of damage. Now, it is only every 1 in 5 times, so don't expect this to be happening like every boss fight. But if you're in a long, tier 4 Pinnacle fight, when this pops, you're looking at, instead of doing, 6 million in a shot, you're looking at doing 10 to 12 million. So super useful. Sniper's Mark. This is going to be boosting our damage even further. So Sniper's Mark will increase the effect of our next crit on the marked target by 89%. I think it's 90 at max. It may be a little bit more at level 20. We're going to run Single Out because what's going to happen is whenever we mark a target, when that target is hit, it will break armor equal to 10% of physical damage taken. And our skills are doing partially physical damage. So this is a nice little damage boost. We're going to run Inspiration, so that way the mark costs less, so that way we're not running out of all of our mana. And we're going to run Arcane Tempo because it is a cast. As you can see, it has a cast time of 0.4 seconds. If I was to take this off, it'd go up to 0.49. So if you have the slot, throw it on there for the faster cast time. To help clear out, we have Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice is just going to be proccing off of frozen enemies and causing a little explosion to help us clear a little bit more. This is great on Spiral Volley. We're going to Magnified Effect for increased explosion area. We're going to run Reach for more area of effect. The accuracy rating doesn't matter as we have a 100% chance to hit at all ranges. And I just have Cold Mastery slotted in here to increase the level by 1. We're running Combat Frenzy. This is helping us generate frenzy charges. Sniper's Mark will generate a frenzy charge whenever you hit a crit on a target that's been marked. But Combat Frenzy will generate charges for you whenever you freeze, electrocute, or pin, and will be freezing. So this is another way to generate frenzy charges. We're rocking Profusion to give us a chance to grant an additional charge, and I'm rocking Cannibalism in this slot, so that way we get 2% of our max life recovered on kill. Great for survivability. And then Wind Dancer is the last slot. I'm running this to increase our evasion even more. I'm running Blind, Maim, and Wind Wave in here right now. So that way, whenever this goes off, the Gale Force goes off, it will blind and maim, and then Wind Wave will proc as well. You could run Pin in it as well if you wanted to, but I'm just rocking Wind Waves. That way it pushes back enemies that hit us to give us a little bit of some room to move. So yeah, that is it for all of the skill gems and support gems, and I'll go ahead and break down the gear. All right, here we are on the gear. And like I said, we are using weapon sets, so I'll go ahead and show you the mapping weapon set right here. So we're rocking dual string bows because they shoot an additional arrow, which is going to increase our damage. And I recommend that you use Path of Building, so that way you can figure out what bow is going to be best for you, as it's hard to tell directly just from slotting them in. But what is important here is that you're either going to slot in increased physical damage, or you're going to slot in, if you have the currency for it, increased crit damage bonus. This will give you the most damage, but those soul cores are incredibly expensive, and I'm not going to bother with them. So we just don't even bother about it if you can't afford it. Now, I would recommend that you try to get one with crit hit chance, the increased crit chance on there, because we want to be critting whenever we're mapping as much as possible to increase that clear speed. Otherwise, if you can just get one with nice physical damage and just a solid dual string bow, and you'll be okay, good to go. Don't really have to worry about too much else. If you can get crit damage bonus on it as well, that's also just a nice added bonus for extra damage. And on the quiver, I recommend that you try to get a quiver. visceral quivers that have the implicit crit hit chance for attacks, because like I said, we want to crit as much as possible whenever we're mapping. So I've gone with one that has +2 level of all projectile skills, crit damage bonus, and attack speed, and some added damages. This one right here I also used in Path of Building to calculate what would be the best one for mapping, and this one was pretty good for the budget, so it fit in really well. All right, as you can see, no uniques, which is phenomenal. I am rocking just a pair of gauntlets that have some added damage to attacks. We're going to want max life on every single piece of gear that we can get, because we need as much max life to stay alive as Ranger as we can. Go for really high evasion, and I've gone for a little bit of energy shield here and there because we are using Subterfuge Mask to give us a little bit of an extra bump. All right, so I also have Dex on here, so that way you can get boost to Dex. We do need a solid amount of Dex, so make sure you get that, and then just some resistances covered. On the chest piece, I, same as before, really high evasion, max life, and I just got my resistances and some life regen. Boots, we want as much movement speed as possible. If you can get some 35s, that's perfect. I have some 30s, so we're good to go. Max life, like I said, and I got my resistances covered. If you can get Dex or Int on your boots, that works out well. On the helmet, I've gone for a energy shield helmet. I recommend that you go energy shield helmet because we are running Subterfuge Mask to give us extra evasion off of an energy shield helmet. So since we have 245, we're nearly getting 500 evasion as well off of this helmet. We have max life. Make sure you get increased crit hit chance on the helmet, and then resistances. If you can get added stats too, that's also fine. For the belt, I am running max life, max mana, resistances. That is what you're going to want to be looking for on your belt. Get your resistances covered first. That is the toughest thing to fill out on Ranger that I have found, is your resistances. All right, on the rings, I am rocking ones that are going to give me tons of added damages. So physical and cold and increased cold is going to be your best bet. But as I said, also get your resistances covered and stats. So super important. On the other on the other ring, same thing. I just have some added damages. I have some stat and some resistances. On the amulet, I have Anointed Wrapped Quiver to give us increased bonuses from Quiver. Super, super strong. Make sure you anoint this. I've gone one with just a little bit of Spirit because you do need just a little bit over 100 to run everything that I have shown there. I have gone with increased evasion. I have max mana. I have crit damage bonus, and I have some attributes. You can go resistances here as well if you need it, or crit hit chance on your amulet. And as for the charms, I'm just running 2 freeze charms and 1 stun charm. And for the second weapon set, all that I'm rocking is a bow with plus level projectile, crit damage bonus because we don't need crit chance. Just go really high damages on it. And like I said, use Path of Building to calculate this. And then on the other quiver, I'm rocking one that has damage with bow skill, increased crit damage bonus, attack speed, stat, and then I have increased projectile speed because we have a point on the skill tree that any modifiers to projectile speed also increase damage. So yeah, that is it for the gear. So I will go ahead and break down the passive skill tree now. So here is the passive skill tree, and what I'm going to do, as the weapon sets are kind of hard to see, the red ones on here, I'm going to pull up my Path of Building, which makes the colors much easier to see, so that way you can kind of understand what I'm picking like much easier. All right, so what I'm doing is I am of course going with the Deadeye ascendancy, and I am going with these Frenzy Charge nodes right here because we want Thrilling Chase eventually. This was the first nodes that I went with, were these right here. If you absolutely want to, whenever you're leveling through the campaign, go with Tailwind so that way you can move faster. But once you get your first couple, I would recommend that you go here. And once you get your last couple, I would go here. Once you have all 8, you can get these, but until, let's say you have like 4 or 6, if you do have 6, I'd go Tailwind, because this isn't as important, like I'd say, as Tailwind up until you can get this node right here. All right, so starting out, I would recommend that you shoot down this way, and we're going to grab this node right here because it's going to do increased damage with hits against enemies affected by elemental elements. You can see this node right here is giving us 148,000 damage itself. Coming down this way, we're going to grab this node for the increased quiver effect. We're going to grab all these nodes right here, particularly this one right here for the damage penetrate to 12% of elemental resistances. And we're going to come out this way. And what I recommend that you do for the regular first point, we're going to spend right here. All right, so don't use a weapon set point. You can see that line connecting. And then this right here is going to be weapon set 2. The green is weapon set 2. The red is weapon set 1. So weapon set 2, we're going to grab these crit damage bonus ones right here. Weapon set 1 right here, we're grabbing these. these nodes right here for movement speed and evasion because this is our mapping right here. So we want more evasion, more move speed. And we're going to come down this way. We grab the jewel socket right here. I've gone one with damage penetrates cold resistance, crit damage, freeze buildup, and magnitude of elements. We're going to come right here, and I'm grabbing the catalysis one right here, so that way we can get more elemental damage and 5% of physical damage from hits taken as a random element. This will increase our hit pool by a little bit. And I'm going to throw these right here on weapon set 2 because we're going to be away from enemies because of long shot and everything like that. So might as well grab this on weapon set 2 while we're here. We have to put these on weapon set 2 due to the requirement for the amount that I have on weapon set 1. I would love to have these just on both the mapping and the bossing setup, but I've elected to throw them just on there. So pick all these on weapon set 2. Come down this way, spend a regular skill point getting to this point right here, and then these are on weapon set 1, our mapping. We're going to have skill speed and move speed. So huge for whenever we're mapping. Coming out this way, we're going to grab these bow nodes right here. We're going to spend regular points getting to this point right here. This one right here, the crit damage bonus, can go on weapon set 2, the bossing one. Everything else is going to be normal skill points. We're going to want this node for the additional crit chance because, you know, we are going to be away from targets regardless. We got damage of bows, damage of bows, damage with bows, and then this one right here, increases and reductions of projectile speed also apply to damage with bows. So this is huge. That's 309 full DPS just off that node right there. We're going to come up this way, and we're going to grab these 2 nodes right here and this big one right here. So that's 116,000. While we have Herald of Ice active, we're going to have 50% increased cold damage. So make sure we are picking those nodes right there. All right, we're going to come out this way, and on weapon set 1, our mapping, we're going to grab the frenzy charge nodes right here because as we're mapping, we are going to want to have more maximum frenzy charges. And we're going to grab all of these evasion nodes right here to ensure that we have enough evasion. And then after that, we're going to grab these crit nodes right here, go out this way with your regular nodes, and we're going to get all of these. And then for weapon set 2, I just have this singular crit damage bonus node picked. All right. On this jewel right here, I do have a time lost that I bought. I think I bought this one for probably maybe 20 to 50 exalts. The time loster can be a little bit pricier, but this one was pretty solid because for every small node, so every single one of these small nodes right here that I've picked, I'm going to get 2% increased evasion, and then I'm going to get 9% increased crit damage bonus for every notable, so these big ones, so boom, boom, boom. Those are all going to be giving me a 9% crit damage bonus, so really good. On weapon set 2, the bossing one, we're going to be spending a point here, here, and on all of these nodes out here for crit damage bonus. All right, so that's that direction. So for this direction, we're going to spend our normal skill points and come out this way to get these nodes right here. Make sure you pick up the damage penetrate nodes right here, as these are important for increasing our DPS because enemies that have elemental resistances are going to take much less damage. We want to penetrate through those, and plus 10 intelligence at the very end right there. Right here on weapon set 1, because this is our mapping or one that we want to stay alive on, we have our subterfuge mask, so that way we have more evasion and energy shield. Come out this way, spend your normal points right here on this node. Come up this way, make sure you grab this Essence of the Mountain. This is great for just 141,000 extra DPS right there. So come out this way, and this is where stuff starts to get a little bit crazy. So this one right here, normal point, normal point, normal point. Then we have weapon set 2 for the crit damage bonus. Right here, weapon set 2, weapon set 2. This is because this has an 81,000 damage node right here. Coming down this way, we're going to spend normal point, normal point, normal point, normal point. It's like your regular normal points, no weapon sets on these, because we got crit hit chance and crit damage, or increased damage if we go to crit. And then we got some skill speed and skill speed. Weapon set 1, because we needed the points to fill out all of them, I've gone with these right here for crit chance, attack and cast speed, dex int, and then survivability. We're going to come up this way. Right here on weapon set 2, I have picked this node, and eventually, once I hit the higher level, I will pick this node as well. I've come out here to grab this jewel slot right here. I've gone with one that has increased cold damage, 2% mana on kill, and damage penetrates cold resistance. I recommend that you get at least 2% mana on kill jewel. It would be nice to have 2. You could also spend the points and grab this node right here to get extra mana on kill without having to waste a jewel socket. come out this way, and we're gonna grab all these crit nodes, everything like that, like normal, and then this node and this node, because they're crit damage bonus, will go on weapon set 2. And that is it for the skill tree. So I done it here on Path of Building, so that way it was easier for you guys to see kind of, you know, what colors are what. I've zoomed out, so that way if you just want to, you know, get a glance over, take a pic, whatever you want to do, here you go. So yeah, with that explained, I'll go ahead and get into a mapping demonstration, and a map boss. All right, so here we are, and I've picked a good map, and I'm gonna throw in this tier 15 Waystone right here. I like to do maps that have increased pack size because the more enemies, the bigger the explosions. It's just a bit more satisfying too. All right, so here we are, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot some enemies and start generating some frenzy charges. Once I have them, I can pop my spiral volley, and it will clear the entire screen for me. So that's all you really need to do is generate some frenzy charges using Ice Shot, and whenever you feel like the time is right, you can just pop your spiral volley and clear everything around you. I like to let enemies build up, so that way it's a little bit more satisfying. So like, here's a good bit. I'll pop my spiral volley, and it'll kill all of it for me. So that is pretty much all you're really doing whenever you're mapping with this. It would be nice if we had the spirit to run the Roa mount, because the Roa mount is really nice on Ranger, because you don't have a movement speed penalty whenever you're using your skills on the back of the Roa. I used it in the campaign because it made, you know, running the campaign extra fast. But we don't really have the slots for it here. So if you had an unset ring, you could make it work, but you would also need spirit on your chest piece and on your amulet. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clear this map and find a map boss, so that way I can show you guys how I handle bosses. All right, so here's a map boss, and I'm in my media player, so that way I can give you a play-by-play. I can pause it and show you what I'm doing at every step of the way. So whenever I am entering map boss fights, I try to have 5 frenzy charges prior. If you don't, it's okay. You can generate them using Sniper's Mark. So whenever you walk in, the first thing I'm doing is I'm applying Sniper's Mark to the boss, so that way if you don't have 5, this will get you 5 frenzy charges. So, or it will once you apply it a couple times. So once you get yourself 5 frenzy charges, I recommend that you pop your freezing salvo. This is going to freeze the boss and immobilize them. So now that I've frozen the boss, what I should have done, but I didn't do here, is you apply Sniper's Mark again. Make sure before you snipe on the boss to apply Sniper's Mark again. Okay, now that I have 5 frenzy charges and I've frozen the boss, I now have procced Ice Bite and I'm ready to go. I'm going to get further away from the boss because we have long shot on our snipe, so the further we are, the more damage, up to 7 meters away, so don't get too far, but get far enough. And you're going to pop barrage. I've now popped barrage because I've consumed the frenzy charges, you can see, and I have 12 right there. So I'm about to shoot out, do 12 repeats of my attack. So 12 times 3, that is 36 arrow shots right there. So, or 36 arrows. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop snipe, charge it up, and you can see once it's that perfect timing window, I'm going to release and one-shot the boss. So that's exactly how you want it to go right there. And you can see that we shot out a ton of arrows. Look right there. Look at all of those arrows. And this is why you don't want to be too far away from the boss. Try to position your cursor at the boss or past the boss, because the way that the arrows work whenever you're fighting an enemy or whenever you're shooting your bow, the closer your cursor is to your character, the more spread out the arrows are. You can see that they're shooting way all over the place. If I bring it down here, they shoot in a much tighter spread. So make sure that you're not having your cursor like right here whenever you're shooting at a boss. Make sure you have it at, you know, towards the boss, all on the boss, or past it if you can. So yeah, that is how you're going to be handling map bosses. I'll go ahead and give you guys a Pinnacle boss breakdown, but it is pretty much the exact same here. All right, so here's one of my Zesh kills, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing for the Pinnacle boss fight. So what I've done is I have gone into my skill tree and I unspec a point somewhere. You can do like one of these attack ones or something like that, and I put it into acrobatics because with acrobatics you're able to dodge boss big slam attacks, which you can't do that without acrobatics. So I recommend that you do this whenever you're fighting a Pinnacle boss like Zesh, who has some really big physical slams or attacks that can one-shot you. So what I'm going to do here is whenever I'm entering the fight, I'm wanting to generate as many frenzy charges as I can before I use my barrage and my snipe. So I'm applying Sniper's Mark to try to generate some. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to generate me a frenzy charge, and the moment that I do, I should try to go for more here, but I don't. I'm going to barrage and snipe him here. So you can see I only have 1 frenzy charge, but I have Sniper's Marked him again. So I'm going to pop my barrage, which is going to give me 4 extra shots, and I'm going to pop a snipe. So I hit a snipe. We hit for 2.8 because I decided to only do 1 frenzy charge and not 5. So now, same thing, I'm just going to be looking to generate some more frenzy charges and then hitting some more snipes. So I'll fast forward a bit here to whenever I'm getting ready to hit him with another snipe. Let's see, whenever I hit another one. All right, so he's gonna chase me a bit. Let's see. All right, so I'm getting ready to do it here. So I've now snipers marked him. I'm letting him do his attack. I get back from him. I charge up another one, and I had my cursor too close to me. You can see that some of these are missing. So either way, we hit for a very solid amount. But try to, do what I said and keep your cursor as far away so that way we hit as many snipe shots as possible. But same thing, we're just going to be looking to generate some more frenzy charges, dodge around until we get an opening to hit another snipe. So same thing, do the same thing. You can see that I have managed to freeze him here. And I hit him with a snipe. And I'm just going to go ahead and pop another one and finish him off after he does this big slam attack, which I thought would happen a bit sooner, but took a little bit to go. So that is it for Pinnacle bosses, really. You're just going to be looking to pop your barrage once you have a substantial amount of frenzy charges, hit your snipes, try to get some freezes, and yeah, it makes the Pinnacle bosses relatively easy. You just kind of have to be a little bit skilled and actually know how to dodge their attacks. You're not going to be able to sit here and just spam your snipe and eat some attacks like some of these other classes. You got to have a little bit of skill whenever you're playing ranger against these guys because you don't have a very big hit pool. So yeah, and that'll be it for these explanations. So that is going to be it for the Ice Shot Ranger. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun on this build. It was probably the best character that I've done yet again this league. I'm now working on a monk. I will have my monk updated here soon, but I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, concerns, anything that you want to add, please throw it in the comment section. I try to reply to every single comment that I can. If you really liked the video, hit me with a like, subscribe if you really liked it. If you want to see me play these builds live, come check me out on Twitch. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching if you made it to this point, and I hope to see you in the next one. Y'all take care.